I think my phone's gonna overheat because I'm charging it while I'm here. But I want to show you where I am and why I'm here. Oh, interesting. Just notice the walls. I was like, butterfly, maybe a moth. I don't know. First of all, I was like, what is this? It's edible for some reason, whatever that is. I came to do what I intended to do, talk to myself in a nice place all the time, not in my dingy, dark dungeon room. Okay, this is where I'm staying. That's my bathroom. That toilet faces my own ocean view with a hammock and my own hot tub. Jealous? This is. What are you doing with your life, honestly? Why aren't you here? You idiot. I'm sure whatever you're doing is so much more important than what I'm doing. That was sarcasm. There's nothing more important than this. I have things to say, and I'm going to take a robe out there so I feel important when I get out. Cool. Nice little hanger here for my robe. When I come out, I'll feel all regal. I'm gonna sleep out here. I can't imagine why I don't do this. Like, I was supposed to take a trip with friends, and everyone's like, oh, let's go here, let's go here. I don't have this time. I was like, hey, fuck everybody, I'm going. Fuck everybody, I'm going. Okay, now look, I'm gonna record from a hot tub. Ooh, it's hot. Let's see if I can set this up. Hello. Once again, I'm somewhat naked. How God intended me to be. I want to be comfortable somehow. How do I look at you and look at the water at the same time? I'm confident this is going to close or overheat or whatever. Oops. Okay, hello. I should have put myself in frame first. Can I tell you what I'm thinking about? Maybe I'll just tell you some things that I've been thinking about that I was like, I definitely need to journal, but I also definitely need to get the F away from my house and people and things and stuff. It looks like Jurassic Park here. Okay, so what are some of the things that I've been thinking about? I've been thinking about numerology. I've been seeing a lot of 777s. I was talking to a couple of my friends who are staunch atheists about numerology. I did their numerology report, and then I sent them the website, seventhlifepath.com, if you're interested. And it shows you your life path number, your like karmic debt, all these things. And it was interesting. It was interesting because I think if you read these reports and it says, for instance, that you have karmic debt, the idea is that, let's just launch into it. The idea is that in a previous life you were an asshole or you did something wrong, and then you didn't get, either you kept repeating your mistake till you died, or you didn't get the chance to redeem yourself. So in then this life you start kind of negative. That's why we start off with very tragic childhood stories, because it's very hard for people to become spiritual or religious when they think they're victims. But when you think that you did it, then there's no one to blame. There's no like external God. It's like, you did it. It's not God punishing you, it's you. It's not the devil coming after you, it's you. So interestingly, these two friends both were interested in the reports, and it's because I was reading my life path number, which is 7. Interesting that I'm seeing 7. So I've been feeling like I must be on the path, on my spiritual path. I hope I can come back to that because something important happened. So I'm talking to my friends, and I'm reading their charts, and they're like, wow, this is like, it's not accurate, it's scary accurate. Like one of them was like, okay, stop reading it because it's like looking in a mirror. And then we started typing in the numbers for everyone we know. I typed in my brothers and I was like, this is exactly right. I typed in like ex-girlfriends and stuff. I'm like, I don't know. And now what the most interesting thing I found is when I typed in like a narcissist, a famous narcissist within our friend group, formerly in our friend group, and I read the things out loud, the traits or the life stuff, and it was all exactly the opposite of, not just it wasn't accurate. I mean, it was like if it was opposite day and you're describing this person. And that seems so interesting to me because I keep thinking that narcissism is a spiritual problem because in psychology they don't cure it. They don't think they can cure it. So the idea is that something has happened spiritually to manifest the exact opposite thing, which to me is like, wow, like made notes of that. What an interesting thing. So these friends wanted the website. These people, like anytime I say anything about spirituality, they're like, ugh, shut the fuck up. And then now they're like, hey, send me that website. Because it's interesting to think that based on your name, birth, date, place of birth could determine your life. There's also something called the I Ching. The I Ching is a Chinese version of this, numerology and astrology together, that is super detailed. Like it tells you like down to like you'll be married at this age and have this many kids, stuff like that. And I'm not interested in looking at that because I feel like it might change what I do with my life. But still, how profound was it that these narcissists, when I type in their birthdays and I look at it, it described them exactly, probably how they want to be perceived. But it's their shadow, right? I wonder if you can hear that. Sounds like they're having fun. I'm on the first floor. And initially I was like, you made me wait 3 hours to check in to give me the worst room. And then when I saw the view, I was like, good enough. And also like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like if I had someone with me and I had to answer to them, I'd be like, okay, she said we need a better room. But I don't care. I have unobstructed ocean view. This is cool. There was a room that's like an entire corner, like the balcony wraps around. And I was like, let me do that. And then I thought, like, let's leave something for next time. I think I'm too close to this reflection of the sun. Okay, is that too dark now? Okay, so life path 7. So my friend Steph says that she thinks when she sees the number 7, it means to stop dating who you're dating and to spend time alone. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I can see that, but why do I see it when I'm not dating anyone? So I have to figure out what it means for me. And then this is interesting, is a friend of mine, I just met her one time, but we've stayed in touch. She calls me the other day and she says, hey, is it okay if I give your number to someone? I met someone and they're really spiritual and I thought they're the same vibe as you. And I was like, yeah, if it's like a friend thing, that's fine. I don't like when people are like, oh, you're single, they're single. Like, it's just, that's not how it works. You guys are the same size, do it. So she like made an introduction text, and I don't think either of us wanted to go down this road. I was like, okay, cool, thank you. And then seeing a lot of sevens, right? So I just say hi, introduce myself, and then somehow we get to talking, and this girl has been studying under a Buddhist monk for 6 years, and she had like her own spiritual journey, and it was interesting to hear someone else's perspective because I only hear my own. I'm always talking down to people, whether it's at work or in the spiritual community or religious community. Like, I've gone farther in the education of it or educating myself in it, so I don't really have peers. And not to say that I'm better than people, but it's like I've obsessed over it because I know that there's something here. And also Life Path 7, I'm supposed to obsess over it. This is like what my purpose is. Everybody else is busy doing whatever mundane bullshit there is. And I was thinking about it, I was like, maybe the reason my life was exactly how it is so that I'd find the spiritual path. Because imagine if I was super tall and I like was into basketball when I was a kid, I would have followed that, and then my life would have been about that. I would have never found the spiritual stuff. So God put me close to the ground for a reason. Now, I feel like I owe it to myself and others to keep going down this path wherever it leads me. Because it's been the most rewarding and fulfilling thing of my life, because I don't have any peers in the sense that people who are enjoying their life to the fullest extent, people that are able to let go of their traumas, people that are able to let go of their identity, people that are able to alchemize their pain, their suffering, whatever. So I feel like I'm always trying to talk about it, but I'm always talking to deaf ears. So I'm always like, hey, like, what angel numbers did you see today? Hey, like, what was your relationship with this person? And like, I try to put the pieces of the puzzle together. But it's something for people, but it's something that you have to do alone. So I guess this part of my life is me realizing that my intervention is the problem, which is a very Buddhist thing. So it's interesting, I connect with this Buddhist lady. Now, as we were talking, like synchronicities popping up like left and right. And she's been seeing the number 7 too. And she says that she's a publisher of children's books. And immediately I was thinking, like, I had said something like, it seems like there's a war for the real estate in the minds of children, in the minds of everyone, I think, but specifically with children. Like, you hear about indoctrination, you hear about, especially with gender ideologies, crazy things that introduce to children who don't know anything about life. Hey, make permanent decisions about your ability to reproduce right now. You're 4. Take that Disney princess suit off and put a cape on. Now you're Superman. Also, cut your genitals off, take hormones. Absolutely insane. But it's like everything in this world I live in is about external validation. Everything that's wrong with people is external validation. And I have found what everyone else before me has found is that's a dead end. Nobody who's in that space has the answers. Nobody who was looking for external validation. None of the billionaires, none of the millionaires, none of the pastors, imams, rabbis. None of them have it. None of them have it. That I've ever met, ever. Not one. I don't have a single example. Like, there should not be the concept of a celebrity pastor is insane to me. It goes against everything that it says in their own book, in their own doctrine. So when I talk to people, you know, I came up with this analogy because I'm a nerd and it's specific to my job. So since 1996, every car has had a diagnostic port called the OBD2 port, onboard diagnostic 2. It's the second generation. So in the first days, you had 3 wires. You had power, you had ground, and then you had a communication K line. So you have 3 prongs, but there's like 12 or 14 prongs on this plug. So 14 prongs plug into 14 things, but only 3 of the wires are active. Power, ground, K line, communication. And as time has gone on, they have developed more technology. There's more information being passed. So, in 1996, the file size of a computer was like 32 kilobytes, 15 kilobytes even. And now we're looking at 8 or 16 megabytes. It's an exponentially large amount of information. So they developed eventually from K-line, they had 2 more communication protocols. They had the power, the ground, the K-line, and then they had CAN high and low. So just more ability to communicate with more stuff. So now there's 5 pins being used. And then they've evolved even since then, and now there's Ethernet. It's called FlexRay. It's like incredibly more complex, but it still uses the same plug. And this is what it's like for a spiritual person who's done the work. You have all these pathways. And when you want to connect with someone, and they only have the 3 working ones because they're still unconscious, even if there's a connection, even if like you're reading and sending information back and forth, those missing pieces are ever so apparent. It's like you could establish a connection and communicate and have a relationship, but it will be missing the depth. And I remembered that, or realized that, because this girl had the depth. It's like, oh, like nobody in my circle is like doing independent research and teaching me. Like, hey, this is what I learned. Of course, there are people that are like on their own path and learning. It's too hot in here. Learning their own things. I'm gonna lay down. Should have figured out how to set this camera up before I start messing around. Research for next time. Okay, so is it safe to have electronics in the water? Look at this view. You're so dumb. Okay, so my point was that people have their own paths in life, and people are doing their own like trial and error and figuring out how to structure their life in a way that works for them. And that's why I'm here. I'm taking advantage of how I structured my life rather than wait for someone to be like, hey, I'll come with you. I'm just like, I did the work, let me go, and then whoever's supposed to come will come. Whoever doesn't have the correct diagnostic port is not meant to be here. So it's been really refreshing to reset and just like to let go of expectations, to let go of like desires, and then I don't even know what this girl I'm talking about looks like. I have no idea. But immediately talking to her, I was like, oh, this is what is missing. This is what I'm looking for, is that someone who's not just talking about, oh, my day was hard. Someone whose purpose isn't let me make money so that I can buy things. She's a children's book publisher. And she said that she's dedicating her life to children. Like, she knows her purpose. Like, immediately that was like, wow. That's rare. Someone living their life purpose. You know, I know all the people I know that are on the path are women, are female. But they're all looking for that answer. This girl already did the work and then has the answer. And now what she was thinking, and the reason why I said it was interesting to see the butterflies, as I was driving here, I was thinking like, show me a sign. I wasn't seeing any numbers, and I saw butterflies. I saw like a yellow one, and then I saw like a traditional monarch butterfly, and I was like, okay, that's transformation. Okay, I get it. And then I come in here, and it's on the walls. So you can't speak butterfly language to caterpillar people who haven't done the work. You'll sound crazy. Now, all the YouTube videos that I watch have to do with spirituality. Every day, all day. It's all I'm trying to absorb. Sometimes I get burned out, and then I have to just do something mundane. But I was watching this video. It was a TED Talk talking about spirituality. It was this guy was also talking about like a psychosis, which is what Carl Jung talks about. Like, you have to go through a psychosis to actually be. You have to go through your dark night of the soul or whatever. Otherwise, you're pretending, and it's more than just having a bad life. And I think it helps watch, because a lot of these videos, it relates to everybody, because everybody thinks they've had a difficult life. Bill Gates and Elon Musk think their lives are difficult. Nobody's ever had a life they're like, oh, I had everything handed to me and it's easy. No one would ever admit that. So as I was looking at the comments of this TED Talk talking about spiritual awakening, this guy's talking about going to like tribes, like small communities where there's no grocery store, everything's in the town, and then if a woman's breastfeeding and she has to go do something, she hands the child to another person and they start breastfeeding it, and then if that woman becomes busy, she hands it to a third. So the community's raising the children. There's this sense of community. It takes a village, right? And we don't have that anymore. I was just talking to someone, I won't say who, but their grandmother fell in the bathroom and was stuck in there all night because her life alert didn't work. And I was like, why do white people get rid of their old people? And an interesting thing was like, just put her in a home. It's like, there's no love there. She's dying. Now, what this guy said in this video, this TED Talk, was that in these uncontacted tribes, they've been contacted, but they're like still living the old way. They put the old people with the children. And then he had someone with him who was like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, they have nothing in common. And the village people were like, no, they have the most in common, because the children just came from the spiritual world and the old people are about to return to it. So you're getting like the direct wisdom from both sides. Like, children sometimes say profound things because they haven't been indoctrinated. They haven't been closed off. What was this phrase? I wrote it down. What was it? It's like birds with clipped wings think flying is an illness. Like a bird that can fly, they're like, oh, like if everybody's got their wings clipped, the bird that's flying, it looks crazy. Or a bird that believes it can fly also, which I guess is the mental illness part. So on that subject, there was a study they did with fleas. Fleas jump. And they put them in a glass jar. And then they're constantly hitting this ceiling, this glass ceiling. They can't see it, but they're being limited. And eventually they take the cap off, and then the fleas never jump out. They never jump higher than where that artificial limit was set. And then those fleas make new fleas, like babies, whatever, baby fleas. And then none of the following generations ever jump higher than that glass ceiling, even though they never knew there was a glass ceiling there. And what a metaphor that is. That's exactly it. And it takes, everybody has trauma, but it takes something profound to happen to you for you to like snap out of it and go beyond that artificial limitation. And having gone through it to some extent, my ability to connect with people has changed. I can still have mundane conversations. It feels very forced and pedantic, but I can. It's just not enjoyable. Whereas, like, I had a few conversations with this girl, and I'm like, wow, tell me what? Tell me everything. We're supposed to get dinner when I get back. Um, it's I wish everybody could have that, and I wish that the people that I love had that, because being on the other side, I see them jumping into that glass ceiling, and I'm like, just go farther. Just try this, try this. Nobody wants to do it. Nobody's interested in hearing it. Nobody's, everyone's like used to their suffering. And that's why usually it's something either new that's traumatic happens that snaps them out, or I've heard like some people spontaneously wake up. I don't know what causes that, but also some people do it with drugs. Now, on that subject, in these villages, tribes that this TED Talk I was talking about, he said that the schizophrenics are their healers and their shaman, and they're like gifted. So like the village worships them. And what happens is when they're little and they start having visions, an old person mentors them. So they don't get lost in the schizophrenia, they harness it somehow. And there's that quote, the same pool of schizophrenic is drowning in, a mystic is swimming in with delight. It's like you see the same things, or you have access to the same dimensions, but it's not consuming you, which is like that's such a profound thought. That it's like you're an X-Men, and you need to go to Xavier's School of the Gifted to figure out how to use it. Otherwise, it consumes you. So it was an interesting TED Talk. I don't remember the guy's name, but I was looking at the comment section, and after being in the real world, like where I'm the crazy one, reading these comments is like, oh, like thank God it's not just me. Like hearing people talk about their stories, talk about what they realize, talk about, like, one guy said it's like flying to the highest altitude and then having to come back down and realize you're trapped as a prisoner here on Earth because everybody else is this low frequency where it's just work, buy things, work, like maybe there's something to this. So I know a lot of people professionally that their energy is stuck, like things aren't going their way or whatever, and the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. When I suggest things, obviously no one fucking listens to me, but I know that your energy, we are energy, right? When it's stuck, your energy has to move, right? You have to get moving. When you look at money like it's a finite thing, not an infinite thing, not that it's energy, you try to hold on to it. It's like trying to hold water in your fist. So every little bit that leaks out, you're like, no, and you freak out. And when you come connect, you realize that it's energy, or when you connect to the spirit, it happens in here, but it helps being grounded and being in nature, not seeing right angles everywhere and artificial lighting. Like this is every month I'm gonna do it. Every month, you can't stop me. So your energy needs to move. When you are stagnant, it's because you are stagnant. You're sitting in a box with artificial light, You just get like a little bit of sunlight. You get like your body's dying. Things aren't working because the universe is telling you to fuck off out here. Go do stuff. Go do stuff. Move your energy. And the same thing with money. Money needs to move. You need to be using it rather than just stashing away like a squirrel. You'll die before you touch a single one. You're like that stupid rat from the Ice Age movies. Scrat, something like that. What else was I going to say about that energy? Your energy needs to be moving. People stuck. I had a great month at work. And as the month was closing out, like last Monday, I had a great Monday. I was like, I don't have to work the rest of the week. And I was thinking like, okay, rain's coming. The universe usually gives me a chance. Like when it's raining, I know it's my escape. It's like nobody's driving cars in the rain. It's a weekend anyways. And I was like, okay, time to leave. And this is where I should record everything. I can't tell what you're looking at. I can't tell if you're in frame. Like the screen is all black to me actually. This could have ended an hour ago and I wouldn't know. I'd be talking to myself. It's just too bright. But my point is that, did I have a point? Do I need a point? This is so much better than being at home. So much better. I'm also noticing that my energy's changed. Like I can see people are looking at me different again. Like just like kids are talking to me, smiling at me, random people starting conversations, and I'm thinking like I'm thinking I'm still scowling, like have my resting bitch face or whatever, but clearly not. The kid sitting next to me on the plane, I booked last minute so I couldn't get a good seat. I got a window seat. And this kid like constantly was adjusting himself and kept tapping me. And like the old me would have been like, hey, do you know where your body ends? Why do you keep touching me? I couldn't be any more clear that I don't want to be touched. But like that voice still pops up, and then I'm like, he's a kid, he just is fine. Nothing happened. Play your Candy Crush and leave him alone. And then one time he did it, like I thought he was trying to get my attention. And when I looked at him, I smiled and he said sorry. I was like, yeah, this is how it should, like that's how it should end. But so many times, like you have a conversation with yourself, and I make the crazy symbol on bird. You hype yourself up, and then you make a mountain out of a molehill. And your entire life is like that. Your entire life is like you're upset at someone at work, you don't say anything. You're upset with a person, your partner, you don't say anything. You have all these conversations in your head. And then by the time you externalize it, you explode. You shouldn't do that. You should come like wherever this is and relax. When I got to the airport, I had paid for them to pick me up. Like I was like, let me arrange, like I want the hotel to pick me up. I don't want to talk to anybody. So I prepaid for them to pick me up from the airport, bring me here, and return. And then if you've been to Puerto Vallarta, you have to walk through this gauntlet. Everyone's like, taxi, this is let me sell you kayak or tube boat or scuba diving, whatever. It's like, everybody fuck off. I'm fine. I figured it out. Life hack. I already paid for it. And then this lady's like, I didn't see my name on a sign, so some lady's like, where are you going? I'm like, this hotel. She's like, oh, this is the representative for that hotel. And then rather than just send me to the car, I'll give you free breakfast, free tequila, free this, free that if you sit in an hour-long meeting. And I'm like, I don't care, I don't want it. He's like, you would really help me out. I was like, okay, fine. Like, I travel enough, I guess. Let me hear your pitch. That's fine. And then he's like, okay, so they want your card for a deposit to make sure you show up. I'm like, fuck you. I'm not doing it. And then he's like, okay, I'll pay the $40. I'm like, dude, I came here specifically not to talk to anyone, and you're making my life very difficult. But I realize he has a quota and stuff, and I feel bad. So now I'm obligated to go to a breakfast timeshare meeting where like in my heart I'm like, there's no way you're selling me, because you can't bribe me with anything. I don't need anything that you have. Yet here I am. I'm gonna go anyways. I'm just gonna have like a hard-boiled egg and walk out. I'll listen, because maybe there are resorts around the world, and if I do this once a month like I'm planning, so far I've gone somewhere every month. Figure it out, stupid. And yeah, going somewhere next month too. Following my life path. Okay, so on the life path, I forgot, sorry. Butterflies. Transformation, 777. So what it started this tangent, as I said, you can't speak butterfly language to caterpillar people. So people who haven't gone through the phase of being a chrysalis, being alone, isolating, setting boundaries, like all these things, or having the trauma that resets you, and then going through that metamorphosis, it is a metamorphosis. Think of how long it takes for a seed to become an oak tree. So the part where you're uncomfortable is a long time. It's not like a week or two. You'll be uncomfortable as you change because you're being reborn. It's a whole new world. You have to relearn the rules, rethink everything. If you went through a spiritual awakening and your life looks anything like it used to, you did it wrong, or you're lying to yourself, you didn't do it. It's impossible to have the same life. Your goals will be different, your friends will be different, everything changes. Or you didn't do it. Now, as I was talking to a children's book publisher, I'm thinking like, I know that all the adults I talk to are closed off. And they're closed off because they've been indoctrinated to be closed off. Like, I used this example before of Santa Claus. Like, you're given the Santa Claus and Tooth Fairy and all these fictional characters. And then when people laugh at you that you still believe it at age 7, the idea of God becomes ludicrous. It's like you don't believe in anything that's not tangible. Something that simple will just, subconsciously, it's in here. And I have no doubt that's why we're fed this stuff. It's not just a consumer holiday. I'm convinced. As probably why they're superhero movies and all this stuff. It's all. I heard the Dune movie also had some. I won't watch it, but I heard there's something in there like that. From a religious person. But I'm thinking like, what is my life purpose? Because I make money, but it's not what I was put on earth to do. It was not why I came here. Like, if I came here as a life path 7 to think about the big picture, and my friends with kids don't have the ability or time to think about anything other than their day-to-day activities, what's right in front of them. But in my personal life, I've figured out how to get things done as efficiently as possible. I go to the gym, I get the things I need to get done, and then I get out. I have like my protein shake in the car ready to go. I don't have to think about what I'm gonna eat. I learned how to do my job faster, I promise you, than anyone in the world. I am the fastest. I guarantee you nobody's as fast. I don't know how to measure that, but I guarantee it. Even with typing in like keyboarding class in 7th grade. I was the number one. Gross words a minute. I could type the most accurate. These are the things that I'm good at, because it spends less time in here if I could get it out, and then I can move on. And then when I used to clear my day out, I would fill it with TV or other bullshit, and now I fill it with like what I want to talk to myself about. Sometimes I read. It's been hard to read because I've been processing. I've been subconsciously absorbing information my entire life that I didn't process. So every now and then something clicks and I'm like, okay, I need to think about this out loud. I need to get it out. And this is me doing that. So I told this girl, the publisher, that there's a war for like real estate in the minds of children, and she said, you gave me chills, like the way you phrased that. I was like, thank you. Finally someone acknowledges my genius. And then I said, you can't speak butterfly language to caterpillar people. And I was like, bing, light bulb. I was like, what if I wrote children's books that introduce them to spirituality subtly? Or teach them how to think for themselves, or see the world in a way that will behoove them as they grow. What if I could be that teacher? And then it's so much easier than I've been talking to myself like a madman, or trying to talk to people like friends or business acquaintances, relationships, trying to get them to understand the things that I've learned is so hard, because everybody has their own frame of reference that's set in stone. And it's very hard to carve a masterpiece out of rough rock. You know what I mean? Like, it's very hard to be a Da Vinci or Michelangelo. But I guess what the trans community knows is you got to get them as kids. They're very persistent, because if you don't recruit, you run out. Just like any religion, any cult. So yeah, I was thinking, what if I have, this is my children's book idea, butterfly language to caterpillar people. I'll show, like, this is a story of two caterpillars, and it's gonna show like one goes to school, does what he's told, good student, and then gets a good job, and then watches TV and hangs out with friends or goes socializing, whatever. And the other one is more like the alchemist, the shepherd from the Alchemist Santiago, like learning from the world, has a different type of intelligence, one that's not measured in a conventional way, because they say if you judge an elephant by its ability to climb a tree, it'll live its whole life thinking it's stupid. There is different types of intelligence. And weirdly, now when I come across conventionally the people that I would think highly educated people that I used to respect, I'm like, you sound like a fucking idiot. You don't know anything. It's like it's like so laser focused. They've been so like soldiers. Like whatever their field of study is, that's it. They're kind of retarded in every other aspect. So this other caterpillar eventually turns into a butterfly. He did his own research. This other caterpillar turns into a butterfly, and then maybe there's like a society of caterpillars that never learned how to do it. Like, what if there's a society of caterpillars that stay caterpillars because they forgot how to do it? And then one breaks away from the crowd and then becomes a butterfly, and they're all like, that fucking guy's crazy. I'm the butterfly, motherfucker. Do you get that? It's me.